Remember when Tony Stark built an arc reactor in a cave with a box of scraps? Or when the Terminator casually performed DIY eye surgery in a motel bathroom?
You created a movie a few decades ago. It seemed like a fantasy. Now most people who are the so-called godfathers of AI say it's not so much a fantasy, that in fact there could be a risk to the extinction of humanity.
Right.
Do you share their concern about that risk?
No, I absolutely share their concern. I warned you guys in 1984. You didn't listen.
Hollywood has spent decades selling us the idea that humans and machines will eventually merge into something, well, pretty badass. But here's the billion-dollar question. Literally, how much money is being poured into this? How much of this is still Hollywood magic, and how much is happening in actual labs and hospitals right now? Spoiler alert, we're not waiting for some distant future anymore. The cyborg revolution has already begun. No gamma radiation required, no super soldier serum needed, and unfortunately, no witty AI assistant named Jarvis included. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to explore the cutting edge of cybernetic technology, what's working today, what's coming tomorrow, and what challenges still stand between us and a world where I am Iron Man isn't just a cool movie line but an actual career option. Let's start with what's actually happening right now in 2026, and the most dramatic developments are taking place inside the human brain. Remember when Tony Stark uploaded his consciousness and controlled his Iron Man suits remotely? Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but brain-computer interfaces, or BCIS, are probably the closest thing we have to that level of sci-fi awesome. These devices read electrical signals directly from the brain and translate them into commands for external technology. Think Professor X's Cerebro, except less finding mutants and more checking your email with your mind. Neuralink has successfully implanted its N1 device in over a dozen patients globally. These aren't experimental prototypes sitting in labs anymore. They're functional systems that allow paralyzed individuals to control computers, play video games, and navigate the internet using nothing but their thoughts. It's like having the Force, except instead of lifting X-Wings, you're dominating at Civilization 6. And Neuralink isn't alone. Paradromics achieved its first successful human implant in May 2025. Precision Neuroscience received FDA clearance in April 2025 for its ultra-thin brain film electrode arrays. This isn't a single mad scientist working in isolation, it's a competitive race with multiple companies pushing the boundaries simultaneously. Neuralink's roadmap is particularly ambitious. The company plans high-volume production by 2026 with procedures that take only 10 minutes. By 2026, electrode counts will triple to 3,000 per device, dramatically improving precision and reducing costs. More electrodes, better control, lower price. It's like upgrading from dial-up to fiber optic, except it's literally in your brain. But BCIS are just one piece of the puzzle. Remember Luke Skywalker's prosthetic hand in The Empire Strikes Back? Yeah, we're actually getting pretty close to that. MIT researchers unveiled a breakthrough in 2025, a tissue-integrated bionic knee that physically anchors into bone tissue using titanium rods and embedded electrodes. This system actually reconnects with the user's nervous system through the agonist-antagonist myoneural interface, or AMI. Users can climb stairs, navigate obstacles, and walk faster than with traditional prosthetics because the device responds to their intentions naturally. No remote control, no awkward adjustment period, just think and move. Meanwhile, AI-powered bionic hands like the RYO system from Japan replicate approximately 95% of natural motion. These hands use muscle sensors and machine learning algorithms that adapt to individual users' movement patterns over time. Your prosthetic hand literally learns how you move and gets better at being your hand. It's like having a bionic hand with a growth mindset. And then there's vision restoration.
Scientists are unveiling a major breakthrough that could change the lives of millions around the world. A new drug is showing promise in reversing retinal damage and restoring vision, targeting conditions like macular degeneration and glaucoma.
Remember Geordie LaForge's VISOR from Star Trek? We're not quite at seeing infrared and ultraviolet levels yet, but we're absolutely in the making blind people see again business. The Prima system has successfully restored functional vision to 84% of patients with dry age-related macular degeneration in clinical trials. Patients can read, recognize faces, and navigate their environments independently. People who were blind can now see. That's not fiction, that's 2026. Beyond implants, wearable cybernetic systems are advancing rapidly. At CES 2026, multiple companies showcased AI-powered exoskeletons. The Ascenti system reduces leg effort by up to 35%. German Bionic's Exia system provides up to 84 pounds of dynamic lift support per movement. And perhaps most radical, MIT is developing circulatronics, tiny electronic chips that can be injected directly into the brain without surgery. Injectable brain computers, no drilling, no cutting, just a syringe full of microscopic cyborg technology. So when will this technology become widespread? The transformation towards cybernetic integration will proceed in 3 distinct phases. Phase 1, 2026 to 2030, medical and therapeutic applications. Over the next 4 years, we'll see significant expansion of approved medical uses. Neuralink plans high-volume production by 2026 with robotic surgery procedures that take approximately 10 minutes. During this phase, brain implants will primarily serve patients with paralysis, ALS, spinal cord injuries, and visual impairment. Conditions where the risk-benefit analysis clearly favors intervention. This isn't about reading minds yet, it's about restoration and therapy. We're fixing what's broken before we start adding new features. Phase 2, 2030s to 2040s, mainstream medical deployment. As safety data accumulates and costs decline, cybernetic devices will become standard medical treatment for qualifying conditions. Insurance coverage will expand, and surgeries will move from specialized research centers into routine practice. Advanced prosthetics with full sensory feedback will become the expected standard for amputation patients. Luke Skywalker's hand will just be a hand, nothing special. Phase 3, 2040 to 2050, enhancement and broader access. This is where things get interesting and controversial. This period represents the frontier where cybernetic technology transitions from medical necessity to elective enhancement. Survey data shows that approximately 56% of respondents believe cybernetic implants will become as commonplace as smartphones by 2050. Though hopefully with fewer notifications. However, only 12% expect widespread adoption within the next decade. So, if you're waiting for your chance to become a cyborg, you might want to keep your day job for now. The military, athletics, and high-performance industries will likely lead adoption of enhancement technologies before civilian applications become mainstream. Think about how smartphones changed everything in just 15 years. That's the kind of transformation we're talking about, except instead of a device in your pocket, it's technology integrated with your body. Your kids, or maybe your grandkids, might look at external screens the way we look at rotary phones. Wait, you had to type things with your fingers? That's adorable, Grandpa. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the arc reactor that costs more than a small country's GDP. Because even if the technology works perfectly, it doesn't matter if nobody can afford it, and unlike Tony Stark, most of us don't have a billion-dollar company funding our cyborg ambitions. Currently, a Neuralink implant procedure is projected to cost around $10,500 for parts and labor initially. However, with insurance reimbursement during early commercial phases, that figure could rise to $40,000 to $50,000. That's new car territory. However, Elon Musk has projected that with high volume production, the implant itself could drop to $1,000 to $3,000, approaching the price of a high-end smartphone. Advanced prosthetic limbs show similar dynamics. Basic models start around $5,000, while sophisticated AI-powered systems with sensory feedback can exceed $70,000. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Cost alone represents a massive barrier to adoption. The global human enhancement market was valued at $136.29 billion in 2025 and is projected to reach $228.67 billion by 2030. But this growth masks profound inequality. Wealthy individuals and developed nations will gain access to advanced cybernetics decades before broader populations. This creates the very real potential for biological stratification, a world where enhanced humans exist alongside unenhanced humans, divided not by choice but by economic circumstance. And if you've seen Elysium or Gattaca, you know that doesn't end well for social cohesion. Historical experience suggests this disparity will persist for 20 to 30 years before more affordable alternatives emerge. So yes, we'll probably all become cyborgs eventually, but some of us will get there a lot faster than others, and that's going to create some interesting social tensions along the way. Even if we solve the cost problem, significant technical and biological challenges remain, because putting electronics inside living human bodies is complicated. Challenge 1: biocompatibility and long-term stability. The most pressing challenge is ensuring that implanted devices remain stable and functional for decades. Unfortunately, we can't all be T-800s with indestructible metal endoskeletons. Human biology is squishy, complicated, and has opinions about foreign objects. Scar tissue can form around electrodes, degrading signal quality. The immune system may reject devices. Electrode performance can decline due to inflammation. It's like your phone battery getting worse over time, except you can't just buy a new phone. It's in your brain. MIT researchers have made progress with biocompatible materials, but the long-term behavior of brain implants 30, 40, 50 years remains incompletely understood. Some patients may eventually require replacement surgeries. Challenge 2: power. Most implanted devices require wireless power or internal batteries. Sadly, we don't have arc reactors. Tony Stark invented clean, limitless energy in a cave with a box of scraps, and the rest of us are still struggling with batteries. You can't just stick a standard battery in someone's brain. It needs to be safe, reliable, and capable of lasting years without damaging surrounding tissue. Because I accidentally cooked parts of my brain charging my implant is not a sentence anyone wants to say. Challenge 3: signal decoding. Current systems can decode simple intentions, moving a cursor, basic limb control. But sophisticated capabilities remain difficult. Doc Ock made controlling 4 extra arms look easy. Reality is significantly more difficult. The brain sends millions of signals simultaneously. We are intercepting a tiny fraction. It's like trying to understand a symphony by listening to only 3 instruments. These aren't insurmountable problems. Researchers are making steady progress, but they represent years, perhaps decades of additional work. Where we're going, we might not need roads, but we definitely need better batteries and a much deeper understanding of neuroscience. Even if we solve every technical challenge, we face profound ethical questions. Privacy and neural data. Brain implants raise unprecedented privacy concerns. Your innermost thoughts could become data that can be stored, analyzed, and potentially accessed by others. We thought inception was far-fetched, but we're building technology that could make thought reading real. What happens when advertisers want access to your neural patterns? When employers want to monitor attention through brain data? When governments want neural surveillance? Black Mirror doesn't seem quite so fictional anymore. Equity and access. Without intervention, enhancements will create biological stratification, enhanced versus unenhanced humans divided by wealth. Gattaca explored genetic discrimination. We might be heading towards cybernetic discrimination. Enhanced individuals could gain systematic advantages in education, employment, athletics. That's an entire generation where biological privilege is determined by wealth. Identity. Ghost in the Shell asked, if you replace enough of yourself with machines, are you still you? We're about to find out if that's just philosophy or an actual identity crisis. Where does the biological person end and the technological enhancement begin? If your memories are stored in a device, are they truly yours? RoboCop struggled with this. Is there a man inside the machine or a machine pretending to be a man? These concerns aren't arguments against developing cybernetic technology, they're arguments for developing it thoughtfully. Uncle Ben was talking about superpowers, but it applies here. With great cybernetic capability comes great responsibility. So, how close are we to becoming cyborgs? Closer than ever before, but still farther than Tony Stark made it look. We have functional technologies right now. People controlling computers with thoughts, prosthetic limbs integrating with nervous systems, blind people regaining vision. This isn't speculation, it's happening. But widespread adoption remains 20 to 30 years away. Medical applications will lead enhancements by 15 to 20 years. Cost will fall dramatically as manufacturing scales. The journey will be gradual, driven by medical necessity first, accessibility second, enhancement third. Different societies will adopt at different rates. Ethical debates will intensify. But make no mistake, the cyborg era has begun. We're living through the early stages of a transformation that will fundamentally alter what it means to be human. The question isn't whether humans will merge with machines. We already have. The smartphone in your pocket is essentially an external brain module you haven't surgically attached yet. The question is how far that merger will go, how quickly it will happen, and whether we'll ensure its benefits are shared broadly. The technologies exist, the timeline is becoming clear, the challenges are known. Will it be the optimistic Star Trek future where technology enhances humanity's best qualities? Or the dystopian Blade Runner future where augmentation divides society? Probably somewhere in between. Humans are complicated like that. The future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed yet. The cyborg future is coming. Let's make sure it's worth waiting for.